Good afternoon. Let me introduce myself, Olivier Bonnet. I'm the support leader for the IT automation, network automation portfolio. So think about products like Instana, Turbo, Step1, NS1, workload automation, AIOps, right? So that's the IT network automation portfolio. I'm based in London. So I thought that it would be good to give you some insight into some of the key initiatives we've been working on from a support perspective. Some of them are not specific to the workload automation, but I want to show you what we've been working on, my priorities, and the impact as add-on to the workload automation portfolio. And then we can open up the discussion and you can give me some feedback and ask a few questions. Okay, so some of the key initiatives I've been working on from a support priority, right? Meaning if you look at what is a good or world-class support experience, it's about speed, it's about knowledge, and it's about communication, communicating with clarity, right? When I came into a position, I look at the overall portfolio, I look at the feedback, I look at every single feedback we got from a survey. I stepped back and decided, okay, what do we need to do to improve the overall satisfaction, your satisfaction? What do we need to do from a support perspective, and what do we need to do from a product perspective? So support priority is speed, right? At the end of the day, if you're going to open a ticket, you want to get an answer very quick, right? It's a given. Now, interesting enough, if you look at the overall time to resolution 18 months ago for the whole portfolio and for workload automation, it was almost 15 days. After 1 year, it went down to 8 days, and now we're down to roughly 6.5 days. What we've been doing, we've been focusing on triaging better the ticket, meaning when every single day there will be some meeting where we look at all the tickets, new one, existing one, and we look at whether we're making progress, do we have the right expertise, the right expert, SMEs assigned to the ticket. We also look at if we need to get some engineering dev team involved, or you getting the right support, are we getting the right expertise from the dev team? And if not, then what do we need to do? So the triage process is something that was critical to improve the overall time to resolution. It's from day one throughout the overall management of the ticket. The second one is the expertise. Ultimately, you want to make sure that whoever is going to look at the ticket is going to have the right set of expertise. So we spend a lot of time investing into building the expertise, sharing the expertise between the engineering team and the support team. And we set a goal saying that 90% of the ticket should be able or should be processed within the support organizations. There is 10% of the cases where we may need to bring the expert from the dev team, in some cases because we have defects, in some cases because we don't have the knowledge yet, but the target is 90% of the time we should have the expertise within the support team to handle tickets. And then the third one is communication. It's a very interesting and fascinating topic. If you look at the ticket, just at the beginning, you're going to open a ticket. Quite often, you're going to realize that after a week, there is not a common understanding between the customer and us, meaning that we go back and forth, we keep asking questions, and we don't have a good understanding of what is the issue in the first place. So that would be the first one. When someone is going to open a ticket, make sure that we do understand what the issue is. And we need to replay. We need to make sure that we have this common framework. So that's step number one. And then step number two, as we're going to make progress and investigate the ticket, make sure that we properly communicate about the overall process and progress. Meaning that this is what I've done, some very basic stuff, right? I'm going to come back to you and say, okay, this is what I've done, the investigation I've done, and this is where I am, and this is when I'm going to come back to you. Setting up the scene about this is where we are, and when I'm going to come back to you. So clarity, right? Communicating with clarity is something that we are working a lot on. Again, it's about making sure that we're not wasting time investigating something that may not be the issue in the first place. And secondly, make sure that we're going to set the expectation about what's going on, so you're not left in the dark, and then we can follow up. So that was the three things we've done from a support perspective, the three priorities. And if you look at the outcome from a workload automation perspective, a year ago, The OSAT, meaning the feedback we got from you was 87. Oh, sorry, it was 76. And now, as of a month ago, we're up to 97. It's a 9% point increase year over year. And same thing, if you look at workload scheduler, this is the same thing, 40% up from 2024. And again, I think that most of it is done to all those priorities. And then if you look at the time to resolution, again, it was at the beginning of 2024, 15 days, roughly. It went down to 9 days at the end of 2024, and now we're down to 6 days. I want to get down to 5 days. Now, the other aspect we've been focusing on is trying to get a better relationship with the product team. Meaning, quite often it's going to be difficult to troubleshoot the product. You're trying to install the product, you're trying to upgrade the product, you're trying to use the product, and it's difficult for you and it's difficult for us to properly troubleshoot issues. So we want to have a close loop relationship with the product team, the dev team, the product management team, and make sure that the product is going to become more usable. So we've been focusing a lot on the overall usability of the product, investing our time with the product management team and the product team to improve the overall usability. So we have this kind of closed loop relationship with the product team, so where we can prioritize serviceability items. And we are also the client zero, trying to team up with the dev team earlier in the cycle so we can test the product and then we can ultimately improve the quality of the product. Are we done yet? No, it's an ongoing work, it's a continuous work, but I think we've made some good progress on that front and hopefully there's more to come.
So is there a product test team within IBM or does that still reside within HCL?
No, it's still with HCL. Okay. The overall product team, dev team, support team is with HCL. I have some people on my side also working with HCL on the product.
Right.
But when it's going to come down to the quality, it's within the quality team, is within HCL.
Yes.
Any question on this one?
How's that controlled in terms of IBM and HCL? In terms of, you talk about code quality, documentation,
yeah,
as well as the support side, and that's one aspect. But the code and documentation, how is that influenced with HCL?
We look at we have dashboard. So first and foremost, I have a couple of people full-time working on it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to look at every single survey coming back. We're going to do some analysis of the tickets. So we have dashboard and AI capability to look into the tickets, and then we can do some analysis about what's going on, right? So we can look at the trends, we can look at from a product perspective, from a quality perspective, are we seeing some interesting trends from the tickets? And then we can follow up with HCL and the product team and the dev team on those trends, and then get them trying to analyze what's going on, and then come up with some action to address that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's being done on a weekly basis, right? Again, I have some people full-time looking into it. This one, teaming up with HCL on a weekly basis, looking at the trend, looking at the insight we get from the tickets, make sure that we follow up on the previous actions.
Okay. Because I know the feedback from previous user groups has been, when you do go to a different version of IWS,
yeah,
it introduces problems that are very basic that should have been picked up in testing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it.
And it's been missed. So how do we avoid
that?
No,
this is something again, whenever there will be some escalation, I will be the one involved in the escalation. So I get insight into what's going on, and if I want to upgrade from one version to another version and it's not working well, and there is some core functionality being broken, then I get this insight from the ticket, I get the insight from the escalation, and then I do follow up with the support team, I do follow up with the dev team saying, we need to get it addressed. So I know that it happened quite a few times. I think it was at least with 10.x, between 10.1 and 10.2,
mm-hmm,
where there was some core functionality being broken. But yeah, I do follow up on every single one.
Yeah, there's been a number of them in different fixed packs within 10.1,
yeah,
and then going to 10.2, especially with 10.2 fix pack 2 and all the SSL issues and all those sorts of things that have kind of continued.
Yeah. And the feedback and what we've seen from the data is you're going to there is some variation in one fix pack, and then we tell you to move to the following one, and then you find out that there is some new function being broken in the next one,
yes.
And then the answer is you need to move forward to the follow-up one. So I'm well aware about this one, and this is something we've been working on with the HCL team.
Yeah, because we've seen customers that have had a problem, fixed in the next fix pack. They've gone to the fix pack, found that there's a different problem, and they had to regress back to the previous fix pack and live with the original problem that they had. So that needs to be avoided.
No, it is. No question about it. It's not the first forum where I get this kind of feedback, and I've been working with HCL on this one.
I think in the conversation we were having earlier, one of the things that came out of that was that if there is a disconnect between what developers are developing and what they perceive as the direction they need to take, and how much input from the clients who are actually the ones burning the fire on the ground going, this is how I'm using it. I don't use it like that.
Yeah.
Could you deny that because it's an amazing idea? Well, I'm not using it like that. He's not using it like that.
Yeah.
He's not using it like that. And he's not doing the same as me. And it feels that maybe actually there's a little bit more of clients. You just give us your back schedule, give us an extra of your back schedule. We're going to put that in and see what you actually do, so we're not making assumptions. It just seems like some of the bugs that we keep seeing feel like 101 kind of. We need to go back and have a look at it. Say, okay, we're going to do this in our beta. Let's take some client data and throw it through and see if that config will work. Because sometimes it's simple as that. The config we've got work perfectly until the next fix pack. And then we're scratching our heads as to why we suddenly got an MI or a client, a customer that's going, my data's not getting where it needs to be. I think there is a little bit of discount. My feedback earlier was that the upgrades in that themselves are relatively straightforward and easy to deploy. That's not the issue for me. It is just the consistency of the code. Yeah,
no, I totally acknowledge it. I've seen it. I've seen it a lot earlier this year between Q1, Q2, and I need to get more feedback. Meaning the thing I've done is I tend to get on calls now with customers more often, so I can get this kind of feedback, and then I can follow up internally with HCL and the dev team. But yeah, I'm totally with you. It's true. So the question now is going to be more about making sure that it's not going to happen again. So again, you have my name. You can reach out to me, and if you believe that it's not getting better, then I can look into it.
You might regret saying.
No, I don't know that. It's a beautiful point.
I think it comes back down to that communication bit as well, right? If you're seeing in the numbers that there are extra defects, or there are certain defects that have happened with the next version, the next fix pack, then it's sort of like sharing that in some way, being able to communicate that back. Yeah. If the advice is put in a case to say, a ticket to say, we're about to do this, tell me, are there no problems? Right, rather than the release notes might be out of date. It's almost like, what is the latest information?
Yeah.
What do I need to know to make that decision to either hang fire or go ahead?
Yeah.
I think that's obviously you've got more data than individual customers have, and it's sharing that. I think.
Yeah, sharing the knowledge and sharing the non-issues.
Having the right way of doing it, and I'm not saying that is the right way of doing it. It's to put a ticket in, but if we could come up with, or you could advise on what's the best way to do it.
So we are looking, interesting enough, I was talking to HCL probably a month ago or 3 weeks ago on this one. Within IBM, we ended up embracing the notion of non-issues. Exactly what you're saying. Can we proactively communicate to customers about non-issues? What would be the right way to communicate about non-issues? So within IBM, you can subscribe to a channel, and then you're going to get notified about non-issues. So you know in advance that, you know what, this is the list of non-issues, and then on top of that, you can know about critical issues, right? Where there's a fix. It's not available yet for workload automation, so I'm working with the support team and the product team to get it in place, so you can now subscribe, because the release note is pointing back, right?
Yeah.
There will be new defects and new issues being found. So you need to be aware. You need to find. We need to have a way to communicate with you about those new known issues. So this is something I'm working on.
If I take a really simple look at something from working with my team at the moment, go to the manual. I think I know how to fix it. Go to the manual goes A, B, C, D, and I think, yeah, I've already done that bit.
Yeah.
Okay, if I'm having the issue, if someone else having the issue, and that's why I then grind to a halt, because I can't find out if somebody else got the issue, and if I raise a PMI, this is my problem. I think it's that in this modern world of being able to grab that information quickly and be able to own it, take it and use it, I think that would be really, really important because it's the intelligence part. But then, we know what we want, sometimes it's just finding it.
Yeah, trying to get the information.
And it takes burden off performance on ticket, it's the journey to the information is cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sharing of that information is critical, isn't it? But I mean, if you look at the overall process for raising a case, I've seen quite a few times with customers, they'll raise a case, they'll put all the information in, submit the case. First thing they do is hit the escalate button because they know they have to do that, which is wrong. They shouldn't have to do that. But typically, the mistake that a lot of people make is they don't attach the must gather information, and they then get frustrated that it takes maybe 24, 36 hours before they get a response. And the first response is, please run the must gather and attach it. It's like, how about front ending it with AI to do all those sorts of things? And then with the known information, to be able to put that into the case as well.
Yeah.
So almost like a level 0 before it even gets to support.
Yeah. And it happens quite often. It used to, I think it's getting better, to be honest. This is what I mean by the triage process.
Yes.
On a daily basis, right, there will be what we call scrum team, and they're going to get together, look at the new ticket. Is there anything missing in the ticket? Do I have the right information? I've seen it too many often where after 1 week, suddenly someone is going to come back and say, oh, you need to give me again the log file, or you need to give me this one. This is the first question that should be asked on day one. If I don't have it, I cannot make any progress in the ticket.
Yes.
Sorry,
Is it perfect? No.
One of the things I find really easy is when I go into a manual, I've gone into the portal, found what I want, found the error code I want, go into it, just about to start reading, and I see a banner at the top saying, there's a new version. But why the hell am I looking at this one? why are suddenly 2 versions of the same story already there? And actually, it is the same. It's not a different version of the file, it's just a different version of the same document for the same version of the tool. You're like, it should have just been taken to the right one.
Yes, right away.
Little things like that don't help, especially if there is. I mean, 99% of the time there's no difference, but occasionally there's that intrinsic update that you go, that would be useful.
Des, you raised your hand. Do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. This issue is really, really important to us. Having visibility of how stable a release is even more important now we're in a continuous development. We would never normally go to a new release of a product until it had been out in the wild for a year, 2 years. We'd always sit behind the curve because the impact to unknown errors as we move to new releases is exceedingly costly. We're in a finance arena, and it just kills us. Now we're in the continuous development cycle where you can only get fixes for releases that are either at the current release or release -1. We need total confidence that the release we're going to move to is good. Otherwise, we're in this no man's land where we can't be sure that we want to go to your next release because it could introduce unknown issues. And we can't stay on an old release because if something goes wrong, the only option we've got available to is to jump to one of those new releases. What's your answer to that?
Yep. I fully acknowledge what you're saying. I've seen it. And so again, right, we have this closed loop, coming back to what I said, we have a closed loop relationship with the product team and the dev team. Trying to bring this kind of feedback to the dev team. At the end of the day, they need to have a fully robust automation platform. So it's more about taking into consideration all the capability of a product, make sure that there is the right level of coverage. We get this kind of insight about if something is going to get broken, if the quality of a product is not good enough, if the quality of a fixed pack is not good enough. We get this kind of insight from the fixed pack. I do believe that there was not enough attention on this specific aspect. I'm not going to say the opposite. When I came on board and I look at the overall closed loop feedback, I got put into so many escalation that it was obvious there was something not right. So we shared the feedback to the product team, the QA team, or the quality team, and they took it on board and focusing on improving the overall quality. Again, is it totally, are we done? I'm not entirely sure yet, but I do believe that there is the overall quality of the product is getting better.
It's interesting when you publish a fix pack, you list all of the defects it's fixing. And you almost need like a live version of that where you haven't yet released a fix pack, but these are all the things that you know you need to fix. Because I think that would help you going into that version. Say a release comes out, we were going to go to 10.2.3 back in March. 10.2.4 got released. We had a look at the fixes in 10.2.4. We went, we're going to have to go to 10.2.4 because there were too many things we thought we might hit. But then you're then wondering what's going to come out. You're going absolute bleeding edge. It had been out a week when we decided to make that call, and you have that fear then of what's going to come out of 10.2.4. And I think you discussed if you had a live APAR defect, because then you raise a case through a PMR, and then you get, oh, this is a known issue. Well, if you had your own access to that, and no one wants to publish, but no, I get that. No one wants to be advertising their product's got defects, but if it's available from a customer perspective, and you can log onto a portal, and if you're registered as having that product, and therefore you can see it, that would be helpful to help you. Maybe and when you have an RFE, you vote for an RFE. Maybe you have that, and you can vote for the defects and go, yeah, I've also stumbled across that problem.
Yeah, I like the notion of voting. So the non-issues, right? It's the APAR. There is no issue to publish it. We've done it for. If I look at my portfolio, the IT automation portfolio, we do publish non-issues. Right, meaning for a certain product, I think we ended up publishing. It's available, right? You can log into a portal. It's not available for workload automation yet, and I have no issue to publish. I think it's going to benefit you, and it's going to benefit us. So we're going to give you some visibility into what's going on. Now, the interesting thought about voting, you know what? It's an interesting one because you know better than me, and you know better than the product team which fixes are going to be critical to your business.
Yes, but the thing with the APARs as well is, we've got one at the moment where we came across a known defect, which was an open APAR, and the customer saying, okay, so it'll be fixed in the next fix pack, and we're saying no, because until the APAR is closed, that code is available, then it goes into the fix pack. If the APAR isn't fixed when the next fix pack comes out, it won't be in it. It's only when the APAR is actually resolved, it'll make it into the fix pack. So internally, they're saying to the business, well, it'll be fixed in the next fix pack, and we're going, no, it won't be. Not necessarily. If level 3 actually fix it within time for the release of the next fix pack, then yes, but we can't guarantee it. So yeah, having known defects, it is great, but the resolution date is unknown.
Right, and the other one, I'm not entirely sure that the answer is always you need to move to a next fix pack.
Yeah,
I have had many discussions with HR on this topic about at one point in time we need to deliver fixes on top of fix pack. I'm saying that is going to be available in the following one. There are so many things in the fix pack that you don't want to take any risk. You want to get fixes only for the set of issues you face.
Well, they were iFixes, weren't they?
But
they used to be called iFix.
Yes, iFix, yeah. But I think we need
back to that idea.
But you can't in a containerized world. That's the issue.
You can limit at least to a certain extent the number of fixes.
Yes.
Right? But yeah.
Because the other thing as well, obviously, when you look at a fixed pack release and all the fixed A parts, a whole load of them may not impact your environment because they may be for AIX or for Z. And if you haven't got that, you go, well, I can disregard all those and actually there. So, you know, appreciate that the fixed pack contains fixes for a wide range of variations in the environment. But yeah, it would be helpful to have a live knowledge of that. It may. The thing is, like, you don't want to stop. You don't want to stop people, particularly raising a case to say they've got that problem, because that may be they're using that as an indicator to how bad it is.
Yeah.
That's why I suggested the voting system, so you don't lose that, because people may, if they can see they can see an APAR list, they see it's there, they might not escalate it. They might just wait and not raise a case for it.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up on the non-issues. You can look, so if you connect to the portal, the IBM support portal, you can look at, forget about, it's not available for workload automation, but you can subscribe to non-issues.
Yeah.
And this is something that gets updated on a weekly basis.
Okay, we have another hand up, and that's JBS. Please go ahead.
Yes. So my question is more related to the Oracle support. I mean, we switched from DB2 to Oracle very recently, right? And the moment we switched in, we had numerous cases because the database has been switched, and most of the times we get an answer saying that we are not Oracle experts. I mean, you're telling that you support Oracle, TWS runs okay on Oracle, and the moment we raise a case, the answer will be like, no, we our support guys are not knowing Oracle that much. So if you have anything on DB2, we can provide a solution. So the one best example for that is in DB2, you provide a DB maintenance script, right? You just ship the product along with the DB main script. But for Oracle, you don't do it. And you ask us to speak to a DBS if you want to do some maintenance on Oracle. So either you have to support Oracle when you say that TWS works with Oracle, or you just say that TWS doesn't work with Oracle. I mean, it shouldn't be like we moved to Oracle and then you say that we don't have that expertise in Oracle.
Yeah, I've seen this one a few times. I think that there are two aspects. The first one is, what do we mean by supporting Oracle, right? So by the way, I come from a dev space, right? So from my take on this one, I'm used to be a DBA. So if I'm going to claim that we support it, we're going to have the expertise, right? There's no way you can claim, oh, you can use Oracle, and yeah, there's no expertise within the product team. And I think this is something we need to take back to the product team and product management team about what we mean by that.
But
then
but for that,
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, but for that, right? I mean, we need to prove something whenever we are raising a case. Ideally, the support should be able to prove that the issue is not from TWS, it's purely from Oracle, but which is not the case. We had to dig around. I mean, it's like we are being sandwiched in between, because we are the TWS admin team and we are being sandwiched between IBM and our DBS, really. So IBM doesn't provide any clear evidence that it is not a TWS problem, nor DBS doesn't understand TWS. So we don't know where to go.
Yeah, no. I can give you an example about DB2, and I can give you the same example about Microsoft, where I've seen some cases where it was, it's a Microsoft issue, open a ticket with Microsoft. It's a DB2 issue, right? Follow up with the DB2 team, even though it's an IBM product. That's the process, right? There's a single owner. At the end of the day, you're going to open a ticket. Whoever from support who is going to take the ticket should be the one following up internally, finding the right SMEs. I've seen it too many times. Not my issue. Open a ticket with DB2, follow up with Microsoft. No, we should be the one dealing with it. Again, I've seen it in Q1, Q2. I have had some discussion with HR on this one. I think we're getting better. Is it perfect? No, but I think this is something that we're at least paying attention to. I look at every single escalation. I look at every single feedback from customer. So I've seen this kind of question and this kind of issue. So I think that there are two issues from a product perspective, I think we need to get clarity from the product management team on what we mean by supporting. And I think that it should be, yes, we are going to support it officially. And then from a support perspective, we need to have the expertise. We need to have the expertise within the support team to help you. And we need to have a way to find out, for example, if it's going to be a Microsoft issue, if it's going to be an Oracle issue, we need to have a way to find out who can help us internally. It's not up to you to do it.
We had exactly the same problem with Oracle. And the fix was to tune our Oracle database. So it got escalated up through our DBAs but the case was open for a long time. And I can argue, well, it was an Oracle problem, and that we should have been banging on their door a lot harder maybe, but that same feeling of being sandwiched between two conversations is a challenge, definitely.
We need to facilitate for sure. I've seen it with Microsoft. I think it was Microsoft directory where it was same thing. It's Microsoft.
And interestingly, we fixed Pact. It was a 9.5 because we had a problem before we were in the process of upgrading to 10.x, 10.2.3. Then we had a problem with 9.5, which led us to fix Pact 7 it before we did the 10.x upgrade, and it actually undid the Oracle tuning, the fix Pact. So we had to get that reapplied. But because we had experienced it once, we knew exactly what to go after, and we had no problem that time because we knew what to go for. But the message queue started, or the message files started to build up because they couldn't rattle it through the database because it lost that tuning. So,
but I'm hearing you. I'm going to double down on this one. Very briefly, and this one is more about. I keep getting this kind of question about from customers, so I thought I would put together one slide. What do we mean by search for service effectiveness? So this is what we do, right? We focus on responsiveness. If you're going to open a ticket, how quickly someone is going to pick up the ticket. Not for the sake of saying, yes, I did pick up the ticket, meaning getting the right expertise. So how quickly do you get to the right experts? I touched on the time to resolution. We have daily triage call. We have weekly analysis on looking into trends, looking at edging cases, looking at cases without resolution. So we're following up on a daily basis and weekly basis on those things. I talk about the expertise available within the support organization, right? Trying to get to 90% of the tickets being handled within the support org. Of course, we look at the customer feedback, the NPS/OSAT. Then the other one, coming back to serviceability documentation. Ultimately, right, we want to make sure that you can handle ticket on your own, right? You don't open ticket in the first place. So the quality of the documentation, the quality of the code, the quality of how to troubleshoot the product is key to us. And then on the process, so I talk about the ownership. I'm so keen on this one, right? Again, I've seen so many times customer being bounced from one SME to the other one. Ultimately, someone is going to pick up the ticket, and this person is going to own the ticket. And then the auto closure, I've seen this one multiple times, less lately, people or customers being worried about auto closure. Ultimately, right, there will be some reminder being sent, and you can always reopen the ticket within 30 days. So I know that there is some customer being worried about the ticket is going to get closed, that's it. First and foremost, we're trying to avoid it if we can. Right, we're going to chase customers saying, are you sure it's going to auto close? And then you can reopen it. I'm not going to cover, I will share with you this one. We've been working on the overall support experience within IBM, trying to ensure that there is consistency across product. This is something that I've been driving personally. There's a well-defined escalation process in place. Again, I'm going to share it. This one, right, this is what we've been talking about, tech nodes, non-issues, hyper being critical fixes. It's not in place for workload automation. I want to get it in place. Hopefully it's going to help you. And then if you want to get some information about security vulnerability, there's some built-in being published on a regular basis.
Can customers and partners contribute to tech notes? Is there a mechanism by which something's done in the field that could be of use for other customers, and it would be ideal to publish that as a tech note? It adds to the knowledge of, or the global knowledge is there a way of
Yes, it's
adding
interesting.
to tech notes?
It's an interesting one. So the question on this one is whether or not we want to make it through TechNote or through the community. So there is some new people coming on board, right, from an external company who came on board to IBM a month ago, a couple months ago. They want to revive the technical community where you can publish blogs, best practices, and so on. I do believe that it's probably the best place to start with. We can take it offline, but I think the timing is perfect.
Okay.
I'm going to take a note before I forget that the timing is perfect, because if you look at the technical community, it's dormant, right? It's not very active. We want ultimately, coming back to a self-service and deflection, we want to make sure that the information and the best practices are going to be shared with you. And TechNotes, it's very specific to one issue. I think you can, using the technical community, we can publish best practices, information on how to use the product. And I think it would be interesting to get, because then you can get some interaction, you can get customers to participate too,
Yes.
or users.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's interesting, earlier, you know, we were looking at a particular issue a couple of days ago, and one of the systems went on. So what we all do now is we throw something into Copilot or Capgemini to see if it can scale. But one of the things that really worried me was what we ended up getting back. What we ended up getting back was a translation of roadmap data from IBM or HCL about, oh, well, this is but written as if it is the fact right now that you can do this. And I'm looking at it, and my sister was looking at it, and oh, I just found this, Chris. Oh, okay, yeah, that I saw that at a roadmap in March. That ain't coming until next year. But the translation of that information. So I think you're right. In some cases, getting the community moving again gives us the ability to actually talk to the people that are doing the do and get insight in probably a much more pure way than some of the data trawling that we're doing at the moment. And we're all guilty of it. I think it's certainly in niche, but in the technical framework, things like workload automation, and data is not there. So translation can be dangerous.
Yes. AI is a useful tool, but
Much better.
the general ones do use a lot of filler.
Yeah.
So if you ask it specific questions about IWS, it'll give you some information that's correct and then fill the rest of it with generic web application stuff. And you start asking it questions that you know are wrong and see what the answers are. Like setting up multiple event processes within a single domain. You can't do it. You can only have one. Put it into Gemini or Copilot or something like that. It'll give you an answer. It'll give you, 2 pages of this is how you do it in workload automation.
He doesn't have an answer. He creates one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Create bullshit.
Yeah.
Because it just thinks of it as a generic web application. But the way it's presented to people is it's fact. This is what I found.
And that's why
It's what you've made up.
IBM has the power with Watson and their own AI language to actually go, well, we actually have that data pool, but do it through our portal.
Yes.
And give us the ring-fenced raw data that needs to be used to scale that information. Yeah, we're still going to get false positives, but there'll be a much higher. I mean, I would dream. I mean, I've done what you've done just out of fun, but I mean, I wouldn't rely on it, and I've got young engineers coming up who basically just live using it, and they have to push back and say, "Don't touch it. It's junk."
Yeah.
But I think if we can get that into how all this data you've got shared there educates our engineers, that'd be much more valuable.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up. It's I'm not going to get into what we're planning to do with a portal. I mean, there's a few things we want to do with the support portal. It's along the line of trying to get some insight into before you open any tickets, can we get insight from the technical community, from the best practices doc, and from the tech notes. But we're not there yet.
And then all that together with an AI front end.
Exactly. We do use it internally for the support engineers. Once we're going to get to a level of maturity where we can say, yes, you know what, it's good enough, we will make it available externally. Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah, there's another question. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's another question online. Do you want to come off and mute and ask?
Well, one day, oh yeah, the links he provided.
All right, it's already answered. Sorry, I can't
Yeah,
see the
that
chat.
came from Sarah. Des asked about your email address. I'm not answering that one.
No, you can get my email address. You can share it. More than happy to get on a call.
Yeah, there was a question. Pratamash, you have a question?
Oh yeah, and this was related to. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This was more related towards support. I think there is a major disconnect between the development team and the support team. So there was I can give you a simple example. There was a simple case wherein after every patching that happens in our environment, our job keeps going into failed status. That case ran for almost a year. We were asked for logs after logs, settings after settings were done. And after that, when we had a call with Marco, he said that this was basically done when we shifted code from 9.3 to 9.5. It was earlier the job used to get stuck in wait plus status. So instead of that, to give them a end result, jobs have started going to fail. So it was a very basic stuff for which we had to wait for a year and we had to spend so many hours gathering logs. It doesn't make sense. If it is a known code change, in your L3, L2.5 team should have been aware about it. It shouldn't have been tracked for a year.
Yep.
It is one part of it.
Yeah.
Second part is I see that the case owner should be able to reproduce, or they should try to reproduce the errors that come or for which we have raised a case. I don't think so that's happening. I mean, even for simple cases, simple thing that can be reproduced at their level, still it has been asked for us to reproduce it, and for us being in a banking domain, it is very difficult to every now and then keep reproducing the error because we have to raise change and we have to go through a lot of change management process. Whereas if the owner of the case could do it in their lab environment, it would be very simple to reproduce the error and pass it on to the next level if it is required. Even that thing seems to be missing from the support perspective.
Yeah, no, it's good feedback. On the first one, this is the idea. I'm first and foremost apologize. I want to apologize for taking so long. I do get weekly report on Monday, right, on aging cases. And again, I think it's not coming down to a triage. It's one of those cases where there was someone assigned to a ticket and nothing got moving and no one picked up on this one. And having a daily triage process in place where we can look at aging cases and missing information should lead into, should not lead in, hopefully it's going to avoid this kind of situation. But again, I've seen it so many times. I look at the ticket and we go back and forth and we ask for logs and then things become quiet. So yeah, we need to pick up on those kind of cases. It should not happen. And then on the second one, which was the second part was the
reproduction of the errors. I think the lab always tries. I mean, it's easier for them if they can fix the problem and just less.
Generally, do have the same when we reach out for the support, reproducing or sharing changing the diagnostic data. It's it's time consuming. Even if the customer opted for a TAM, but still TAM they may able to do only level 1. So sometimes yes, it is a challenging. So if it is possible, if some kind of enhancement on the support process and skill level in the support engineer may help for the customer and as well as for HCL.
Yeah, we did. So building the expertise, right, is coming to a theme of building the expertise. It's one aspect. I still believe that we need to make the product more serviceable, right? It's too difficult, meaning you're going to collect one log file and then the team is going to come back and say, well, I need to get another one. We need to make it simpler, right? Give me the data I need, and then I can go back internally, I can try to reproduce it, or I have everything to do. I have everything I need to troubleshoot. And we're not there yet. I keep pushing on this one, serviceability. I was on a meeting a week ago with the dev team and the support team on this topic, so it's work in progress. But yeah, I can only acknowledge. And then I can come back in the next few months, and then you can tell me yes or no, is it getting better?
One of the questions that's been asked in the past, because of the continuous support model, having changed from 5-year standard, 3 years extended, to now, what is it, 3 years standard with 1 year extended.
Yes.
Yeah. For the larger organizations, this does mean a continuous upgrade project. What do you recommend in terms of support? Because it's not normal support, is it? When you're doing an upgrade, it's kind of heightened support. So what's the recommended approach for customers to take? If they're doing an upgrade, what would you suggest they do? Log a case before they start, or?
Proactively, yes. We do have this process in place where if you know that you're going to go for an upgrade and you want to give an alert to IBM, yes, you do it. You can proactively open a case, and it's in one of the process. So you know that in 2 weeks from now you're going to upgrade from 10.something to 1 to 10.2, and you want to let us know in advance so we have the right people line up. Then you open a case. It's proactive, self-for proactive. You explain the situation, and then the team will be aware, right? And they will have the context.
Okay.
You can do it.
Again, what would be useful is, in that situation, what information should be pre-provided within the case, so that if there was a problem, say if you were doing a fix pack and you were doing it on a Saturday, you apply the fix pack, and it brings everything down. Obviously, that's a step one.
Yeah.
You don't want to go through the process of
you
having
want
to supply all the information.
You can do it in advance.
You want to do it in advance, so that the only thing you would need to do then is to change the severity to 1.
Yeah, I've seen it. I can look at the documentation, or I can look at the process. I've seen it where the support team, the lack of genetics from the support team, is going to come back and say, give me all the details in preparation. So if exactly your situation, if something is going to happen and you need to increase the severity of a ticket, everything is in the ticket. You don't need to get on the call and explain everything. So most of the time when you're going to open this kind of proactive case or ticket, someone is going to ask you a few questions in advance. But again, if it's not the case, you got my email address, or you're going to get it after this call.
Can I ask the people on the call and also in the room whether anyone's actually done that? So when you've applied a fix pack or done an upgrade, whether you've notified support first before doing the work?
Yeah, we've done that.
Yeah, if we've got a complex change or we're doing an upgrade, probably we might even make a preemptive P2 for it, just to say, we're doing this, you're aware, this is what we're doing. Maybe you've got part of one book in there so that they've got visibility of it if necessary, but I wouldn't say we do it every time.
We recommend that to every customer going through an upgrade. We'll put a call pre-case. Well, not an upgrade, especially when they're doing the switch. The upgrade process themselves, maybe not, but when they get ready to do the switch over to that upgraded version.
Okay. The team is very good at genetip and in.
The migration or the view, yes, we also did. In some case that helped, in some case the troubleshooting or the things couldn't happen, because when we do the proactive the engagement, they may be asking a lot of the data which we give, but when it comes in the real-time scenario, some situations even they couldn't able to solve on fly, so that has to be rolled back and need to be scheduled for another time to address that.
Okay.
Okay,
Sounds like it should be a standard practice then for everyone to.
for a critical one,
Yeah.
critical level, yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's something we did actually when we went to go for it this year. So.
See, I think if it is done and it becomes standard practice, that is another time, if support will do it, to share back. These are the known problems
Where
with
you're
this
going to,
particular, going from A to B.
Yeah, definitely. It's an
Right.
opportunity, isn't it?
That's the opportunity, and if it's like 2 weeks before or whatever, you get the latest information. I think that's one way of showing, doing that communication as well. Personally.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. The first question I ask the support team after an escalation is what are the lessons learned? So exactly, so we can take it back. I think that there's a tendency for a support team to jump from one ticket to another ticket. We don't take the time to reflect or step back and look at what did we learn? What can we take back into a product? So yeah, I'm totally with you.
Yeah. And again, it's like asking the right question when you raise the ticket. It's all right putting the set 4 in, but that's not going to get to the front of the queue very quickly, right? So it's almost like, this is what I need to know because I'm doing this upgrade in this time scale. Please can I have the latest list.
Yeah.
I know in the past, this is something lab advocates would do proactively.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's that many lab advocates left, are there?
Don't believe.
No, we not. I think it was.
IWA.
Yeah.
Yeah, the process changed this midway through the year. Lab advocacy kind of only for certain customers.
Okay.
It's not openly to everybody anymore. I don't know if it's paid now, but it's the process. The whole.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It just doesn't exist.
I think that's obviously you don't know who you're getting when you raise a case, but it doesn't feel like you're getting, I want to say, a personal service. You don't expect a personal service, but when you're in the process and you're having problems, it doesn't feel like the person you're working with understands the situation you're in, that you've been going through this upgrade process, you've already had these previous problems. It feels everything's taken in its own point in time, not
it's transactional.
Picture.
Very transactional.
Very transactional, not. So it doesn't feel like support are coming on that journey with you, and that would improve it, I think, for everyone. If you could try and get to that place. Let's say maybe we didn't raise that pre-thing, which would have been a great idea. We'll definitely be doing that in the future. But then that needs backing up with that bit more of we understand where you're coming from and whatever.
Des, you have another question?
Yeah, that was a really good point that was just made there. We have used this process before, and it is a good thing because it makes somebody aware of what's going on, but it doesn't feel personal. I don't think it necessarily guarantees that the person who's going to respond to your ticket when you do suddenly bounce that to a Sev 1 because you've got a big problem is fully up to speed with where you're at. It certainly doesn't give you any sort of preferential call out. I think our SLAs for call out, and I assume this is probably standard across everyone on the call, is basically a 2-hour SLA for a Sev 1 ticket, which in a production environment, that's not fabulous. We can lose an awful lot of money, an awful lot of customers in a 2-hour call out window. Yeah. What's the way forward with this?
To discuss with HL about this one. I believe me, I understand where you're coming from. There is some support offering available for certain IBM product. It's not available for some of the HL product. I need to follow up with HL on this one, meaning there is some clear feedback about trying to get something that is more personalized, someone who is going to understand the environment. I think it's a valid request, and it's something I need to follow up on. Okay. And I'm going to share if you're on team, I will share my email address. Okay.
I say thank you. It's nice to hear that some energy is being put into this area because I think it's long overdue, to be honest, but it's nice to hear some energy is being put into this.
Let's do it more often.
Thank you.
Just to say, my team's a low volume ticket raises, to be fair, as with some of the other companies that you deal with, we are seeing better response. Generally, we are seeing better response, and the tickets, I'm seeing more engagement going way faster.
Okay, on the right.
Yeah.
Thank you.